Good morning, everyone. I'm a little bit late. It's 10:31. My name's Dave Hackett. I'm on your Board of Trustees, and it's my pleasure and duty to welcome you this morning. I'm just taking a moment to look around and notice you all. Like Thomas is over there. Tanya is over there, and there's our Director of Religious Education Emeritus is over there. Anyway, feels great to be here. Thank you all for coming. We have a script here. My glasses are so dirty that I can't read it. That's my excuse. I actually go off script every time. I get to be the board welcomer. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, first, a word or two about Unitarian Universalism. We are that type of community. It's a community that's based on values, shared values, not rules and regulations. There are no penalties for disappointing my own expectations of myself. I could send myself to hell if I wanted to, but I don't have to in order to be part of this community. So that is a very welcoming notion to me. I appreciate it, and I recommend mercy to yourselves as well. So, if you're here for the first time, is anybody here for the first time? Yo, back there. I think it's a good idea when I'm going to a different church to sit in the back, because I'm shopping, it's just, I firmly believe that shopping is good. It's one of my personal values. It's a little alarming to Cindy sometimes because I tend to take the bait when something is on sale. You ever bought something that because it was on sale and then felt regret? Come on now. Oh, I expected a lot more hands. Well, thank you for that, late voters. Anyway, shopping is good. Maybe this will be a community that works for you. That would be delightful. If this is not the community that you're looking for, I wish you happy shopping in your life as you go on. But we're glad you're here. If you want to know more about Unitarian Universalism, you could talk to any number of people here. But since I'm the board announcer, I'm the designee. If you have questions or curiosity about Unitarian Universalism, hunt me down. Usually be over at the snack table near the goldfish, trying to get a few before the kids get them all. So, I mean, I got a bright shirt, you'll find me. So there's a lot going on at Tahoma UU. Our community is lively. And let's see, I know DRE Emeritus has an announcement to make. Also, I want to thank, where's Charlie? Charlie Kaparick for the glove he gave me this morning. He gave it to me and I thought it was a Michael Jackson gloves. Anybody old enough to remember Michael Jackson? But then he said, no, it's an oven mitt to keep you from hurting yourself when you're grilling. So thank you, Charlie. It's like, we're good to each other here.
You want to join me? This is the real DRE. I used to be a long time ago. DRE is Director of Religious Exploration for people who don't know that. Anyway, I'm here to talk about our OWL program that is starting up. And some of you might not know who OWL is. We tend to just say OWL, OWL, OWL. And it is Our Whole Lives. It's a curriculum that was created by the UUA, the Unitarian Universalist Association, with the United Church of Christ about 25 years ago. And it has been updated regularly. And it is a sexuality education program. And they have curriculum for from ages 5 on up to 105. It's really an amazing program. So here at our congregation, starting next week, we are offering a program for kindergarten. It's the kindergarten first grade program, but we are extending it for second graders. If there's any second graders that want to join in, we will welcome them as well. So if anybody is interested in getting a child or their grandchild, or if you want to talk to your neighbors about it, or we have space available still, and we would love to get a few more kids signed up if we can. I will be after church sharing some information about the program. I'll go downstairs after the service and I'll be available. I'm going to talk about the program in a little more depth with people who want to take a look at the curriculum and such. So yeah, talk to me.
And my religious education announcement is to announce that on the same day, October 5th, we will be starting our youth teen program, which is for kids that are between the ages 11 and 17. It'll be the first meeting, and I hope that you will drag your teens to church for that day.
Ben, your turn. I actually remembered he was going to wave at me. I remembered.
Exactly. All right. We will be hosting a volunteer drive. I was taken to task after last Sunday to say this is not the first volunteer drive that this church has had, but it is the first in a while. So we are restarting the volunteer drives for TUC, and that will be taking place on October 12th. For anybody on the program committee that received an email from me or from Sean from me on Friday, I did get the date wrong in that email, so ignore that date. It's the October 12th, the Sunday after church will be the volunteer drive. And right after church today, we are having a program committee meeting. We would love to see a representative from every committee that is at this church. If we could get somebody there, that would be great. We'll talk about budget, but we'll mostly talk about volunteer drive. And then we'll talk a little bit about the program committee in general. So hope to see you right after church. Thank you.
Just a personal note about an important event that happened to a member of our community a few days ago. This honorable person was at work doing their job when their manager walked up to them and said to them something to the effect of, "I don't expect that you can actually think, but here's what I want you to do." And just in the service of standing up against and not putting up with mistreatment, this esteemed and courageous member of our community quit on the spot and walked out. So let's not put up with being disrespected. To respecting each other, differing with respect is a path to freedom. Thank you so much. Any other announcements that I've forgotten? Oh, I get to ring the bell. I'm sorry. I was so alarmed about what happened to my friend. I forgot about the land and all. I can't wing it on this because this is very well thoughtful, factual, and well worked out. As we begin our service in this beautiful place called Tahoma, called Tahoma by indigenous tribes and nations I acknowledge that we meet today on the land of the Coast Salish people, including the Puyallup tribal nation. This is land from which they were forcibly displaced. I honor the resiliency of Indigenous people and stand with them as they continue to protect their culture, land, and water and fight for their visibility, sovereignty, and very existence. Lastly, please set your electronic devices to worship mode. And thank you for all being here. Do I get to ring the bell? Oh, good.
Welcome, friends, newcomers, old timers, seekers and skeptics, saints of habit and rebels of heart. Here we gather not because we think the same, but because we choose to journey together. Belonging is not something given, it's something we build with open hearts and open hands. It is made in the sharing of stories, the holding of silences, the courage to show up as we are. Here, we practice radical hospitality, not of perfection, but of presence. May we make this place a shelter for the soul, a workshop for justice, and a sanctuary where love is not merely spoken, but lived deeply.
So my name's Lauren. I go by she, her pronouns. I am the TUC choir director. I also run the parents group, and I am your celebrant today. Today we have picked, well, Sean, our dearie, has picked William to be our chalice lighter. William and Betsy have been members for a pretty long time, yeah? So they're gonna light the chalice and then we're gonna say some words together. William's 5 and he loves playing with his Legos. He does ask really good questions. You'll see the words up on the screen. We light this chalice in deep respect for the mystery and the holiness of life, in honor and gratitude for those who have gone before, with love and compassion for those who dwell among us, and for hope and faith for the generations to come. If you can get out your gray hymnal, the choir and myself are going to lead you in hymn number 168. One more step. The lyrics should also be on the screen. And now it is time for all ages. So if you are young or young at heart,
So before we start the time for all ages, a new tradition we're starting is we are collecting donations to the food bank. So if you have a donation to the food bank, you could please hold it up so the children can come and collect it. Can you go collect all the food bank? Yeah, go grab them. Food bank donations. Got one back there. Anybody else? Oh, there's somebody. Can someone grab the one in the back corner? Oh, I think Charles got it. And we'll be doing this every week. I will follow up with that one with the social justice group. It's going to vary. We're going to start that next week. Thank you for reminding me, though. I'm on it. Yes. Okay. All right. So now I will be reading the story about Ebon, a harvest festival. Ebon, yes. Or Mabon, I apologize. Mabon. It's a harvest festival. Long ago, in a small village nestled between the hills and the woods, there stood an ancient apple tree. At the very center of the town square, it had wide, leafy branches and roots that reached deep into the earth. Each year, the tree gave its fruit at just the right time, during the season of golden leaves, when the air grew crisp and cool. Everyone in the village called it Grandmother Apple because she had stood there for so many years and gave her gifts so freely. Her apples were red, gold, and green, just like the colors of autumn. Some were sweet, some were tart, but all were nourishing. Each year at the fall equinox, when the days and the nights were equal and the world felt perfectly balanced, the people of the village would gather to celebrate the festival of harvest. They would pick the apples and say thank you to the tree, using the fruit to make pies, cider, dried rings, and even medicine for little coughs and stomach aches. But one year, something changed. The apples ripened early, and the villagers started picking the fruit in secret before the harvest festival. We'll save them for our family, they whispered, just in case there aren't enough later. One by one, others did the same. By the time the festival day came, the branches were nearly bare, and the children looked up in surprise. Where did the apples go? They asked. The old villager, a kind woman named Mira, looked around and said gently, "It seems we all were afraid there wouldn't be enough, so we forgot to share. But Grandmother Apple has always given freely, and her gifts have lasted through many winters." Then she walked up to the tree and placed one shiny apple. She had saved it in her basket. She put it onto the ground beneath it. One by one, others followed. Some gave apples, some gave dried slices, others shared juice, jam, or even apple seeds to plant new trees. The festival became not about having the most, but about sharing the best of what they had. The year the village felt warm in spirit, even as the days grew colder. And Grandmother Apple, the next spring, her blossoms were more beautiful than ever. Her roots felt the love that had been returned. Yes, if you share, things are better. This story lifts up the Mabon fall equinox and the earth-centered wisdom. It reminds us that the harvest is coming in, and now is a time to share what we've been given, to care for one another through winter. Just as our UU value of generosity reminds and calls us freely and compassionately to share our faith, presence, and resources. In other words, it reminds us that we should share. And now we're going to go downstairs and learn about other fall festivals.
You can join us by making an arch for the children. Hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. Hold your spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life, we hold you in our love as you go.
I'm Charlie Kaparik, and I'm your chat chaplain today. I mostly use he, him pronouns. Our congregation runs on community. We come together to learn from and share with each other so we can all flourish. Part of this goal is financial support. We thankfully give as we are able to keep TUUC strong and vital. There are baskets at the front of the church for transfer relocation and safe parking, and the ushers will pass around baskets. If you're online, you can easily donate as well. Thank you all for your generosity.
That was beautiful, Mary Ann. We're gonna do the dedication. If you'll read the words that are on the screen and follow me. We dedicate ourselves and our offerings to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love we call community, both within and beyond these walls. And now the choir is gonna sing hymn number 1023. It's in your teal hymnal, Building Bridges. This is a round, And so we're gonna split the congregation into two parts. We're only gonna do a two-part round, thank goodness. So the first side will be here that starts the round, and then you, the second group, you will start, let me grab my lyric. So when it says, but, building bridges between our divisions, once the word divisions is said, that's when the second part of the round starts. So you'll start at the beginning of the building bridges part. Does that make sense? Okay. And then we're all gonna sing it. She's gonna play it once through. We're gonna sing it all the way through together as one, and then we'll split to the round. Does that make sense? I know it's a little confusing. Thank you. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could be some sweet harmony.
The reading I started the service with was called Building Belonging by Reverend Dr. David Breeden. And before I get started into the message, I'd like to give you another quote, this time from Wendell Berry on an interesting take here, but a discussion of the start of community around agriculture. That's less important, but the quote here is interesting. A proper community, we should remember, also is a commonwealth, a place, a resource, an economy. It answers the needs, practical as well as social and spiritual, of its members. Among them, the need to need one another. Now, for those of you that might be a little bit confused looking at your order of service, we did have a minor typo with my last name. But we're good there. Here is where I would normally apologize for this sermon not being quite as finely polished as I normally like to work with. I normally pick what I'm going to talk about and have a month or so to roll it around like stones in a polisher and put all the pieces together and fine tune all the details. And I'm subbing in for somebody here, but I can't even really blame that for the sermon today, and any unpolishedness to it, because even if I had a month to prepare this, everything I would have prepared would have been irrelevant as soon as what happened on September 10th happened. I have always found it pertinent to talk about major events. Ignoring the world outside of the church does no one any good. So, with the events of September 10th and 11th and 12th, fundamentally changed what I was going to say here. Because I'm sure I don't need to tell most of you all, we had an assassination on the 10th. Charlie Kirk was shot and killed during an event on a campus in Utah. And as I discuss this, I may talk about certain individuals' politics. I may talk about things in a analytical way, but I do want to be clear up front that I start by condemning this kind of violence. I don't think this kind of thing has a place here in America. Now, that being said, I personally, due to their rhetoric, will not necessarily mourn Charlie Kirk, though I do have great empathy for his family and his children. But what happened there in the aftermath of that shooting was a lot of political finger pointing and name calling, a lot of blaming back and forth. And there's been some evidence to suggest that maybe the assassination was motivated by people unhappy with Charlie Kirk's rhetoric on a number of things and the hate that he fostered. There's also a certain amount of evidence that says he's also could have been on the right. For those unaware with modern online culture, there are multiple factions of the left and there's multiple factions of the right. And so there's some suggestion that Tyler Robinson might be in a group of people called Groypers, which the name isn't particularly relevant here. But it's representative, or at least might be, of some infighting amongst the various. We like to call ourselves the right and the left, but we have divisions of our own. And so there is some suspicion that what happened in September might have been disagreements among the right about how to handle some things. And so it got me thinking about these groups, about groups in general, about community, about how we identify our community. We identify who we're with. We identify who we're fighting against. And how do we do this in a way that doesn't lead to individuals with rifles shooting their enemies? And I found myself looking at a quote from Brené Brown. For me, what was really surprising was after I spent a year trying to understand where we were as a country, what I learned was pretty shocking. We've sorted ourselves into these ideological bunkers. We don't go to school and worship and live by people who are different from us as much as we used to. And the more sorted we became, you would think the more connected we became. Because now I'm with people who are like me. But it turns out that behind these ideological bunkers, it's not that we're deeply connected to each other, it's just that we hate the same people. And hating the same people doesn't really mean jack when it comes down to belonging. Because just because you hate the same people, that doesn't mean you're going to show up when I'm throwing up at chemo, or you're going to pick up my kids from school when I'm running late or have a flat tire. It's not real connection. So we're more so sorted, but more lonely. One of the things I've seen a lot lately, but this is a thing that, go back as long as we've had religion, is that we really, really like bold lines, right? We like creeds. Here are the things I believe, and if you believe these same things, then you're part of our group, and if you don't believe these things, then you're not. Because those lines are easy. It is easy when you have those lines to create the in-group that feels good about themselves and the out-group, and we don't have to like them. We feel good because we're in, and we feel good because we can push people out. That's easy. I mean, if all it takes to make community is, nailing a 19-point bulletin to a Catholic door, we'd have had this figured out by now. But it turns out that's not actually a good way to build community. Hate can be a deeply stimulating emotion. The world becomes easier to understand and much less terrifying if you divide everything and everyone into friends and enemies, we and they, good and evil. The easiest way to unite a group isn't through love, because love is hard. It makes demands. Hate is simple. So the first thing that happens in a conflict is that we choose a side, because that's easier than trying to hold two conflicting thoughts in our heads at the same time. The second thing that happens is that we seek out facts that confirm what we want to believe. Comforting facts, ones that permit life go on as normal. The third thing that we do is we dehumanize our enemy. The problem with doing it that way is what was said earlier, that doing it that way doesn't actually create connection between the people. Sure, we have a common enemy, but we don't really know each other. We don't connect to each other. In fact, sometimes when you only have those two lines, us versus them, what do you do about the parts of you that are kind of like them? Do you really fit in? Is fitting in what we're trying to do here? Because fitting in doesn't feel the same as belonging. From Tokopah Turner, who is somebody that Margot quoted last week, our longing for community and purpose is so powerful that it can drive us to join groups, relationships, or systems of belief that, to our diminished or divided self, give the false impression of belonging. But places of false belonging grant us conditional membership, requiring us to cut parts of ourselves off in order to fit in. Now, I do have a little disclaimer here, and this may be disappointing to some of the folks that have gotten used to my sermons. I don't have any international historical events to talk about. All of the historical events I have here are mine, my own personal history. One of the reasons that I do feel at home here, as I do, is that in my previous churches, I did have to be two people. In order to fit in at church, I did have to cut certain parts out of who I could be at church. And so after finishing the Pathways to Membership here, and as I sat downstairs having a dinner with Crystal, talking about whether I should become a member of the community here or not, I asked her point blank. Me and my wife are polyamorous. Is that going to be a problem? Because I don't want to continue to live a life where I am two different people. I want to be me. And can you welcome me here? And her answer was absolutely yes. So another quote from Brené Brown. I was so shocked to learn that the opposite of belonging is fitting in. Because fitting in is assessing a group of people and changing who you are. But true belonging never asks us to change who we are. It demands we be who we are. Belonging. That support, that connection. How do we build it? How do we do that? How do we become the community we want to be? I was having a conversation with a friend of mine just this past week, and she was having a bit of a crisis because her daughter had said that not only was she being bullied at school, and she was having some depressive and suicidal thoughts. She also said that she felt like Christianity was being forced on her, and she didn't believe in the Bible. And the interesting thing was that my friend was most concerned about the last bit. And when I asked why, because that seemed like a weird bit of priority there, she said, if she doesn't believe in the Bible and she doesn't believe in Christianity, how do I make sure she feels cared for and protected? And I was very confused by this comment, because to me, that's never been what it's about. But it took me a minute, but I could see from her perspective, the idea of a caring and loving God. And if you don't believe in that, then, the world can be a harsh place. And so how do you still feel that way in spite of the world? And I got to thinking about it. And I got to thinking about church and what church has been for a lot of people, and the need for community and the church and the community. And it occurred to me that while some people can find caring and protection in a church, it is very rarely from the theology of the church. And what I said to her was that religion is founded on Scripture and preached from the pulpit. But the church is built in the pews and formed at the tables. The church, in the way that it's a community, is done out there. Margot last week talked about the view from up here and being able to see everybody. And I can appreciate that. But the real church, the real community for me, is when I'm actually out there. Community for me is, I don't know about you, I don't know if all of you know Desi. She's fairly vocal when she's up here. But one of the things that I love and Jenna love is when she's here and we're hanging around, she will invite Jenna and I to a restaurant here for pupusas. Now, she will invite Jenna and I to go have pupusas with her without checking with her parents first, which I find greatly entertaining. Her parents very rarely argue, but to her, that's just the natural progression of we're friends here, so what next, right? And there's community in that. And in our Time for All Ages, we talked about sharing the Harvest Festival. And again, in that sharing, we have community. When we went on our camping trip, one of the things that happened was that Harrison had way too many green chilies. And I took them home and I canned them up. And everybody loves them. And they're great. And Dave and Cindy had too many plums. And so I went and I grabbed some of those plums and I canned them up, turned them into jelly. Delicious. Everybody loves it. I shared it with a number of people. In fact, I've had a couple of people request that I trade that for other jellies. It's great. But also, equally important are the times that I was able to bring my smoked salmon to the board meetings and the tech committee meetings. Because it's important to contribute as well as receive. Many of you know I'm a fisherman, and if you've let me talk to you about fish, I've told you about our veterans group that I go fishing with. And you can sign up as a participant. And if you sign up as a participant, you show up, they give you the kayak, they give you the fishing gear, there's a guide that takes you out on the water, shows you how to catch the fish. It's great, wonderful experience. But when you sign up that way, and that's your experience, you are a participant. I didn't really feel like I was a member of the group until a couple of trips in, one of the other guys got their line hung up on a snag and was fighting with it, and the current was bad, but I was able to get from a different side of it, and I was able to get them unhooked, and they were able to go on their way, and we kept fishing. It wasn't until I was able to share with them that I really felt like I belonged. There's something to showing up to a community and being able to see the places that you've put your little mark, right? Shortly after we hired Sean, the admin, we had some questions about some of the tech that was in various closets and stapled up on the walls downstairs. And Sean and I spent some time following cables. And we tore down some of the equipment and redid some stuff. And so now when I walk around the building, I can see the spots in the building where I've had my effect on it, where I've put my little rubber stamp on the building, on the community. So as we talk about what it means to be a community, first, we need to make sure that the community is accepting and encouraging of the people that are coming in, that we allow them to be their full people, that we center on love, which is the core of the UU values. But we also need to encourage that participation. We need to allow the people coming in to make their stand, to be participants, to be truly a member, not just a participant, not just an attendee. And if you're struggling with that, if you're feeling like you're just an attendee, talk to people. Let them welcome you in. Let them help you feel like you belong. And if you want to do some of the participation stuff, highly recommend it. Turns out, as mentioned previously, we're having a volunteer drive soon. Great opportunity for you to become involved, to create some of that belonging. So as we set an intention, I would ask that we think about the world we see outside, the world that pops up on our For You pages, on our Facebook, on the news. And we think about how we can build a different kind of community. How we can make sure that we are a church community, not just a place to experience religion. What we can do to help build that place that is truly for us and for others.
I'm going to go ahead and say, let's take a moment of silence for all the violence that has gone on in the last few weeks, from the school shootings to the assassination. Our world just needs to come together. So let's take a moment of silence for that. Our closing hymn is We Shall Overcome. It's in your gray hymnal, 169. Please join us in singing.
For our closing words, I'd like to read from Reverend Michelle Collins. As we leave this sacred hour, may the welcome we receive become the welcome we extend. Let us meet the world with open hearts, open hands, and the audacity to build spaces where every soul feels at home.
We're going to extinguish the chalice. Thank you. William's not here. He's downstairs. Thanks, Paul. We're going to say the words on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Before we do the closing hymn, I did need to let you know that our parents group meeting has changed from the 27th to the 28th because of scheduling conflicts with CUPS group. So CUPS is on the 27th and parents is on the 28th, and it starts at 3 p.m. here. Sorry, Mary Ann, thank you. Please rise and sing the closing song.